Yes, guys, it's another episode of Fight Club Live. It's Danny Glover. It's Base the Kid. You know where it is. How you doing this evening, man?
All good, man. All good. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, apologies. October couldn't make it with us today. She's got some important schoolwork to be doing, and it's a bit late. You know, she likes her beauty sleep. So we're going to be holding down the fort. We are not going to be on here for too long, as we are actually a bit later than we wanted to be, but we needed to make sure we got this out today as it is necessary. And I think you guys all know where we're going, what we're going to be talking about, and there ain't really anything else to discuss. So, Danny, say what's up to the people, and let's get into it.
Yeah, man. What's up, everyone? Hope everyone's cool. Hit the hype button, hit the thumbs up button from early. If you are watching on the playback, whether you're watching on Fight Fan TV Live or Base the Kid at the Hardcore Casual, hit the hype button, hit the like button, and leave a comment for some engagement. Yeah, sorry about the lateness, but as we know, we do want to produce some content. I've got to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning, so good thing we haven't got a big roster of cards like 3, 4 shows, so we can get straight into this.
All right. Okay, so I think the best place to start off is we usually like to talk about the fights and just sort of divulge and give our thoughts and opinions and whatnot. But ultimately, I think that there's no better place to start than here.
Oh, you like that? Actually, you like that picture?
I mean, it's he's basically saying another one. Like,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
finger of power, like this. I hold your entire career in my hand. So I'll let you start off and give your thoughts. 'Cause obviously, the guy that you predicted to win won the fight, which I don't know if that softens the blow of how it ended for you, but let us know because maybe you thought it was all good. Who knows?
Yeah, well, with Howard Foster, he's had a long career. He's been refing for nearly 30 years. He first refed back in 1997. That's when he started professionally refereeing. Um, and he is notorious with the fans, unfortunately, for a lot of bad calls. In this fight in particular, he made various errors throughout the fight where it's like, when someone, they're trying to be funny or they're trying to do something but they do it at the wrong time. Everything is just misplaced and mistimed, not at the right convenient moments. They should have done the punchline should have hit sooner, or they've dragged the joke out too late. It's one of them ones, and that's what I feel he did multiple times throughout this fight, starting with even in the second round when Joseph Parker's mouth guard got spat out or dislodged. um Maybe a veteran move. Maybe it actually did get punched out his mouth. I don't know. I think he was looking for recuperation, but that's neither here or there. But whilst Fabio is unloading on him, the ref just starts saying, "Stop boxing," and you're thinking, "Please don't do one of them ones." And it's a mouth guard issue because Joe's looking like he's in a bit of bother. Most notably, it's like there's some kind of he's got the Fabio Wardley cut across his nose bridge, and there's some damage on the eye, and he's dabbing, he's thinking, what's going on, and he's looking a bit discombobulated, and the referee stopped it at the wrong time. Also, when Fabio's holding a lot, he's not saying anything. When Joseph Parker's bobbing and weaving, ducking below the waistline, which is an infringement, he's not calling that either. And then, as we know, the sequence in where he has stopped the fight at the end was not at the right moment. He should have stopped it either before or waited for another rally before, a little snap back and then jumping. He did it. I feel it was not a outrageous stoppage. Some people want to just, I think some people are overselling it because it is Howard Foster, and some people just love a good scream up and a good moan. But it was not stopped at the right moment, in my opinion. But it definitely was not even in the top 10 worst of Howard Foster moments. in my opinion.
I
Because
mean,
if we
does
look at, don't you think, for instance, yeah, a much worse one? Because I had someone call me up. I'll let you know after. They say this is the worst one in history. I'm like, stop it, because I know some people just don't watch boxing properly. Like, do you remember? Like Howard Foster? I've seen him stop Fabio Wardley fights at mad times, 3 times throughout Wardley's career. The first one was against Simon Vallily. The second time was against Michael Coffey, if you remember that. That was just ridiculous.
Mhm.
And then obviously this one was, it's one of them ones, bad timing, but I feel the writing was on the wall. And he just needed one little salvo, or he could have done it earlier, or even the round before when Parker got saved by the bell, in my opinion.
Okay, so it's crazy that we're talking about, well, this isn't in his top 10 worst. Like, that's a crazy take right then and there. Now, at the end of the day, whether it's his most egregious one or his least egregious one, it's the fact that it's the same issue. It's the same mistake. Now, I agree with you. If he had stopped the fight at the point when, in that round, Joseph Parker got caught with a shot to the temple, which kind of is the shot that pushed him back to the ropes initially, um, then as much as I still would have been like, well, come on, he's on his feet, but I could maybe understand it. He gets pushed back to the ropes. Fabio goes in for another like quick salvo, and big credit to Fabio. But then Joe manages to kind of push him off, and he throws his own 1-2 in there. It wasn't anything special. It was arm punches, but it's just him showing that he's still in the fight. He's still got the ability to to fight on. He's a bit lucid. He's still cognizant, and he's there defending. Bearing in mind, in real time with Howard Foster, as close as he is to the fight, can clearly see that the bulk of these shots ain't landing. They're being blocked on gloves. They're being slipped, dipped, rolled. And the ones that are getting through at this point, if we're being honest, in the 11th round, because the 10th round's a different story. If he stopped in the 10th, maybe I would say, all right, you know what, cool. But in the 11th, at that point, Fabio was virtually throwing arm punches for the majority of it. Like, he had very little energy left. So the shots that were just about getting through, like Joseph Parker was managing to take the sting out of them. He was, like I said, he was riding with them. Some of them were just, bouncing off the gloves. And he was doing a pretty good job of defending himself. Now, of course, if you don't throw back, you give the referee an opportunity to count you out. But I believe that rule needs changing. It shouldn't be if you're under fire and you're not answering back. It should be if you are taking what's the word? If you're taking
A
damage, or if
it's
you're
suspended
taking
walking, yeah.
um I'm trying to find the right word to use. If you're taking unrelenting damage. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a difference between you being swarmed with a barrage of punches and they're not getting through, and you taking unanswered punches, like maybe with your hands down, or like everything's going through the guard, and you're buckling all over the place, a bit like Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk. That is a scenario where you could say, okay, it makes sense to, if you're taking unanswered punches for 10 seconds or whatever the criteria is. I think they say it's 6 seconds of unanswered punches without delivering back, then they can stop it. um
I think that's way too short, in my opinion.
so do I, but
Because you can bum rush a man for 6 seconds in the first round and just get an easy stoppage.
very true, which is why I don't think that's why they don't really adhere to that particular rule. But I would think it has to be, all right, how much damage has the person taken during the fight? Are they defending themselves? Are they showing visible signs of distress? Not distress as in, oh snap, I'm under fire. Not that kind of distress. Like distress, like their whole body looks like it's in like almost like a standing fetal position, for like in that kind of distress. Not someone that's under fire but is they you can see that their eyes are wide open. You can see that they're slipping the stuff, blocking the stuff. It should ultimately be, if you're in that moment, but you're taking unanswered punches that are dangerous. And I think that's where the word needs to be. It needs to be, how dangerous is it are things in this moment? Because look, realistically, um, that same salvo could have, well, all right, forget that for a moment. We'll come back to that. The big part of the issue is, as you said, the moment he stopped this fight was poor, because whether the writing was on the wall or not, which is something that people want to say, fair enough, but allow that to play out. This is ultimately, it's a world title. It's a world title fight to a degree. It's an interim title. The interim champion has the same responsibilities as the full champion, just doesn't get recognized as such. But this is a fight that basically the winner goes on to fight for undisputed. This person has been up on the cards pretty much the majority of the fight. I know one of the judges had it a draw, but the other ones, it was 96, 94, and then 98, 92 at the end of the 10th. So on that, you can clearly say, well, okay, the guy's up on the cards. You know that he's got a chin. You know that he's been hurt before, and and he's been able to come through that. And you know that he's a seasoned pro that can take care of himself. So when you kind of look at all of that, and I know sometimes they say, oh, you're not supposed to, like, you shouldn't factor in the outside factors. It should literally just be what you're seeing then and there on the day. But no one does that. And to be honest, you would be doing a disservice to a lot of the people that you work with, or the fights that you officiate, if you don't take other factors into account. This isn't a point scoring system. It's not like a, and even for lack of, if you look at it in any sport, whether it's football, whether it's rugby, basketball, American football, all that sort of stuff, like, the referees change, like, they will use the rules, they will work within the rules, but they will take certain, I don't want to say the word liberties, but they will they will let certain things slide. They will allow certain things to flow, provided that a very dangerous or serious infraction isn't happening, because that's the way, you let things flow. You understand, okay, this person, chances are this person knows how to shoot outside the box. So therefore, if he slips over, if he gets knocked over, but then he gets back up, maybe you don't call the foul, because he might lace a shot that goes top bins. Like, there's those kind of processes that should be in your head. So ultimately, the process here is, well, we know Joseph Parker can take a beating and come back from it, because he's done it before. Um, did it against Dillian White, where he didn't win the fight, but he did it against Dillian White. He did it against Zhang for the first 4 or 5 rounds, where he was a bit under the cosh, knocked down twice, but gets up, comes back. Joe Joyce, even in that one, when he gets knocked down in the 11th, he still beats the count, coming up, getting up off his feet. The referee just thought he was in no fit state to continue. Fine, but give him that opportunity.
Chisora as well dropped him in the first round, overhand.
Yeah, well, that one, yes, it was counted as a knockdown. Yes, you're right. But again, same principle. Like, okay, if he gets hurt, he's able to come out of the fog. So I guess the main part is, outside of whether or not it was right to stop the fight. As I said, if he had stopped it the round before, I probably wouldn't have said anything. If he even stopped it 15 seconds before that, maybe I might have said, all right, you know what, fair enough. But the moment you choose to stop the fight, you've literally got Fabio Wardley starting off doing a Thriller dance, the way his arms are just out in the air. Like, it's crazy. Uppercut that don't land, the left hook which gets blocked off the gloves, the straight right that don't land, and then
Mm.
that's when you decide to jump in to stop the fight. At this point, Parker's eyes look quite clear to me from where I was sitting in the arena. Um, they showed the replay several times as well, so you're sort of very aware of that. Um, it was just the whole thing. It just stank. And what makes it worse, and I said this on Basis Picks a little bit earlier on. I mean, not Basis Picks, sorry, Weekend Rap earlier on today. Um, Again, I don't want to take anything away from Fabio, so shout out to Fabio. But it was so clear of the two of these people who they would rather have fighting Alexander Usyk. It
Hmm.
was always going to be Fabio Wardley because number one, he's British. A lot of you even saw Talksport and all of those media. Oh, I'd like Fabio to win. He's one of us. He's one of the the guys. I'm patriotic. Okay, cool, we get that, fine. But now you've got the built-in narrative for a fight with Usyk. This guy came from the white collar scene, and he only had four white collar fights. He should not be doing this, yet he's always stepping up to the challenge. One of the most improved. He's one of our own, and now he's got a real shot, and he's taking on the veteran 350 amateur fights, against four white collar bouts. Like, oh, could he do it? Could this be the shake up that the heavyweight division needs? I can or like this is me. I can already see the um the massive rollout that you could do for this fight, and the promo, and the and the behind the scenes, and the like the all access type shows where you got Fabio going back to his old recruitment office, seeing if some of the old heads are still there, and talking that, boy, we never thought he'd get this far. And like you can see the whole rollout. I can imagine it all. Like
I
it's
can see. I can
it's
see
top
it.
draw
You could go
content.
back to Chantry Estate where he grew up, the rough ends
Yeah,
estate in Ipswich, where the local shopkeeper's probably still there.
all of that. I can see everything, and the entire nation will buy it, and I don't blame them because it's a great story. Again, shout out to Fabio, because I ain't gonna lie. After the Eric Molina fight, we was all on like Monday Night Smoke saying, "Yeah, this guy ain't it,"
Mm.
and somehow he leveled up, and he keeps leveling up and finding a way. And I said earlier on, um, and I know I'm gonna let you rock and come back in a minute, but I said earlier on, he's just got this thing that I've just now dubbed the off it mode. Yeah, it's like, all right, you know what? Long for the boxing, off it. Let's go. Let's see. Let's just see what's gonna happen. And at this moment, he's so unorthodox with it. It just seems as if like the people that are schooled just have no idea how to deal with this berserker mode. This is like, it's like Wolverine in just that berserker rage. You don't you can't really do much with him when he's in it. But the one thing when Fabio does all of this, in fact, I'll talk about that later. Like, come back and sort of give your thoughts. Obviously, we spoke about Foster, but let's take it back to the fight. Like, how did you sort of watch the fight? How did you score it? How did you feel it was going outside of your prediction?
Yeah. Lastly, on Foster, it's just he just reminds me of he just reminds me of. Do you remember when you're kids, yeah, and you're playing with your cousins and your siblings or whatever, and you're on Street Fighter and you're just about to get that KO or perfect, and your cousin reach over and just flicks the button on the machine and turns it off. One of them
Yeah,
one reset button. That's what it feels like Howard Foster likes doing in fights, or just ripping out the last two pages of a great novel. So you never know how it ends, even though you kind of know where it's going. But he does the cold Kanye West. We'll never know, and it's just very frustrating because he's basically hijacked Fabio's moment off of him, just like he hijacked Carl Froch's moment off of him, and he's done it in multiple occasions, unfortunately. So I do feel also, I will add, I feel he needs to be demoted. I know you said this as well, but I said it as well. He needs to be demoted from A-star referee, because I don't know if maybe he's getting old, or he's getting a bit squeamish, or his timing's off. But he's definitely been on the slide and shot as a referee for a number of years, and it is egregious and downright, I find, somewhat institutionally potentially racist, why a man like Ian John Lewis can get demoted from A-star referee. Jeff Hines never got the push to A-star referee level. Yet this guy, Howard Foster, who is known globally, not nationally, globally, to where I've even had people's managers asking me, give me some referees which you think are good to that we should potentially choose for our fight.
Oh
And
yeah,
he
those
is
same
scrubbed off.
managers did the same thing with me.
Yeah, and these particular names are scrubbed, and he was top of the list. So if you've got people petitioning that they do not want this man refereeing their fight, this guy is not A-star no more. You've got to drop him down a peg,
I mean,
unfortunately.
look, the fact that we've got, I was all over Twitter earlier on today and even yesterday, and I was seeing more of the outrage from the Americans, and there's a whole bunch of them who already knew the name. Oh, it's Howard Foster. Oh, we heard about him. Like, crazy how across the pond you are probably more famous than some of the most of the fighters to them. That in itself tells you something, and
Yeah.
he does. Yeah, the demotion needs to happen, but I said, and you know what? It's a shame that Tony probably isn't in the watching at the minute, but he can vouch for me. We were sitting down on the ring floor, right? And as soon as we heard who the referee was, I turned straight to him and said, "This fight's about to end in some bullshit." I said it to him, and I got a feeling, it's going to be a bad. And he just laughed at me. He just laughed and shook his head, and then eventually he walked off to go and find a better vantage point because he wanted to take some footage. But I just said, yeah, I just knew it. I knew it was going to happen, and had I have known that Foster was going to be the referee, I probably would have changed my pick.
Yeah,
Because as much as I thought that, okay, I know how I expected Joe Parker to sort of give it up in the fight, like, I know that when Fabio goes into the Berserker barrage, they don't have to land. I've seen it so many, same like you, like we've every single fight that he's had with Howard Foster, there's been a questionable stoppage, and it always says, well, the writing was on the wall, so yeah, I think the referee made the right decision. Of course, Fabio's going to say that. Like, he's not going to tell anyone I was blowing out my ass out at the end of that, and I'm glad that he stopped it when he did, because we don't know if he was gonna manage to actually finish Parker in that moment. He might have, but that last free piece that he threw might have been the last bit of energy he had.
yeah,
Parker might have come back with a big swing and left hook, and just knocks him down because he's now dirt tired and he's all
mm,
struggling to get back to his feet because he's gassed out. How do you when the referee, before the referee's even proper jumping in, his arms are down by his side, so he's not even defensively in a state where he can defend himself. And then as soon as the arms go up to say yeah, man drops to the floor, and it's not a drop to the floor like crying celebration, I can't believe I've done it. It's a drop to the floor like, thank the Lord, it's over. The
yeah.
same way, how remember when Fraser Clark in the first fight had the big construct and he looked strong all the way through. As soon as the fight finished, man slumped on the ropes, can barely move.
Yeah,
That's exactly what it was like.
yeah. Even Ben Davison said that he thought it was the wrong time. Yeah, it was the wrong timing. But actually to the fight. So we'll break. So I'll get into the breakdown of the fight from some points I had. So going in, I did predict that I had into the build up when the fight got announced, in the build up and all that. I thought that Parker was going to win on points until I saw the weigh in, and then I thought, oh no, he's done the beefcake thing again. This ain't going to go well because he's in now with a sharpshooter, which naturally Joseph Parker naturally, even though Fabio Wardley, yes, we know his history and background, but he has this thing, this street fighter type. He's a skilled street fighter who is athletic in a PE sense, but Joseph Parker is athletic in a sporting sense. But I feel when he packed on this 262, I remember when he was 255 against Joe Joyce, he became stationary and he got drawn into a dogfight. And I thought 262, you've got gas by thinking you're on the henchman thing, going being 267, dropping a jet leg, no legged, fat Martin Bacoli, and you thought, oh yeah, this new added weight now because the fight before I was 247 and I got dropped twice by a 291 Big Bang Zhang, not realizing whether you was 267, 262, you was never going to push back Big Bang Zhang, and you was never going to push back Joe Joyce because they're just naturally bigger guys, and they were still weighing heavier than you, your career heaviest. So you saying I'm going to do the henchman thing against Wardley, I'm thinking no. Now you're taking away your best attributes, which is speed, agility. So now you're giving Wardley the advantages over something you would have naturally had the advantages over him, being too heavy. And in a lot of the stages, when he did get buzzed or hurt, yeah, he might have had, with the big tree trunk legs, better shock absorbers. But you've now made yourself a stationary target where you can't get out of the way properly. Hence, you're trying to bob and weave and duck below the waistline rather than slip and slide and ride out, lean on the rope, and then fire back fast combinations like you used to be able to do back in the day. In and out footwork, bouncing like how Jaya Patai has now adopted your old style. You can't now do that no more because you're too lumpy, you're too beefy, you're too beefcaked, you're eating too much taro. So now when you're getting hit, you're staying hit and you're slumping. Even in the last sequence, well, we'll get to that anyway. But in throughout the first round, he's done all right. He's landed a couple shots here and there or whatever. First round, bing. Second round, they're getting into it. Fabio Wardley's hitting with a right uppercut, left hook, which has him going. Then he's hitting with a shot which seems to have split the kind of eyebrow, nosy area, and he's dabbing. He's trying to figure out what's going on. It's like, like when Tim Zoo's worrying, is he bleeding in that next fight? He was doing that. So that's kind of making things look worse than it is, and he's getting clapped. And and that's when the gum shield came out, and he almost, as I said, the ref Howard Foster jumped in when Fabio Wardley's unloading on him, which potentially robbed him of a second round stoppage. So it could have been over in 2 rounds, like properly. But Howard Foster's jumped in too early. Andy Lee, ex fighter, he ain't stupid. He's took a nice time washing, rinsing. There's your mouth. Gave him a nice 15-second rest. But hey, this is pro boxing. You got a pro trainer. You meant to do that thing. So big ups to Andy. He's seen his man's, he knows the signs. He's taken a punch. He's been woozy before. So yeah, then the fight continues. Fabio's got that the second round. I gave him the third round as well. I think it was the fourth where he's hit Joseph Parker with a booming right hand, and it literally just bounced off it, like it just ate it, just boom, and just looked straight at him. Like you heard it through the TV, you just heard it, and I know you lot could have heard it in the arena, and he just literally bounced off him. I thought, rah, Parker's got a chin, boy. Maybe this added weight is beneficial, because he probably would have went down if he was 245. Then Parker started to clap Wardley. Wardley was using a lot of good inside work, where inside body shots. I'm thinking, okay, he's invested in the body, but Parker is landing these left hooks. I think what Wardley, I did say he's improved on, definitely from his last fight and other fights, is that he's not doing this thing where he keeps ducking his face into the floor to look to get away and then eating uppercuts. Because I was thinking, if you do that, Joseph Parker is known for some lethal uppercuts, which he was doing on a man like Derek Chisora and a few other men. So you definitely don't want to be looking at the floor getting uppercutted in the face or scoop shotted from underneath. So what he was doing, he was using his hand like that and then dipping down. So even when Parker did try to hook or come uppercut, it would hit the glove. And then obviously he started doing these shoulder rolls. I was like, "Raw, man's been watching a bit of Pretty Boy, yeah." So he was doing some very good defensively responsible things. His jab was working better than usual. Wardley, he had a better output. Usually he got into that gas mode of I only need one punch in 36 minutes. But he stuck it on Parker a few times. But yes, Parker was landing some chopping rights over the top. And then there was a moment in hold on. And what I'd say as well with Fabio Wardley, which I do rate as well, is that he reminds me of Chris Billam-Smith in a sense, where they are able to fight in the red zone, that even when they're tired, they're still able to fight with fire and still launch powerful attacks. Obviously, Wardley's able to do it with more devastation, but Crispin Smith could look tired from round 3, but still have an engine. I don't know if it's to do with the air that they're breathing, because their air is not so polluted down in places like Bournemouth and Ipswich compared to us London guys who getting a lot of pollution. So maybe that's why us London guys, our fighters ain't got them, can't fight in the red zone and the stamina issues. When we're tired, we're tired, and we just can't seem to fight through it. Also, in the 10th round, it was weird. That's when you could tell that Wardley was tired. Yes, Parker was getting faded as well, even though he did rack up a bit of a lead. People were saying they had him 5 rounds, 7 rounds up. I'm like, you man are definitely overreaching. The fight was close. But then there was a point where Parker's hit him with a right hand. Wardley's grabbed the turnbuckle, and then Parker's hit him with a double left hook and then bonged him again. I'm thinking, Rob, what are you doing? It's like he's looking over at someone in the crowd, Wardley, while he's getting punched in the face. And then it's only when he's ate like another right hand that he's thinking, Rob, I've been hit, punched. Oh man, all right. And then he's done that, as you called it, the Uff It mode, where he said something. You could see he said something like, let's go, or F this, or something. He said something to Parker, and then that's when he's gone into the kamikaze Grant Mitchell mode, and then hit him with an uppercut. I think it was uppercut, left hook, and then that's what got him, Joseph Parker, sort of wobbling. And then he unleashed, I counted 27 unanswered shots, with 15 of them landing. And, he could have got stopped then, but the bell saved him like Zach Morris. And then in the 11th round, it was, nice and quiet for the first minute. And then he's hit him with a booming long right hand, Wilder-like right hand. And then for 40 seconds, he's unleashed 49 punches. Like 33 of them was like skimming and kind of grazing or whatever. But it was a 40-second salvo where Joseph Parker did not answer back. I had someone say that Parker threw 2 punches. And I'm like, that's not 2 punches. He didn't get the extension. Those punches got nullified. They didn't get to extend out to be classified as 2 punches on the CompuBox. And then he got hit with a right hook. Then he sagged into the ropes. The uppercut got blocked because he covered like that. The left hook went round the guard and boomed him in the face. The right hand then missed. And then the ref jumped in inappropriately at that time. But you could hear the commentator saying, Joseph Parker's about to be stopped. The ref's looking in. The ref's going to stop this. So the commentators can see that he's in danger mode now. He's in trouble. The ref's going to stop. So you can see this, and he's not firing back. He's not holding. He's not taking a knee, which he should do as a 40-fight veteran, former world champion. So it's like, Parker, you should know what type of ref you're dealing with. You've just got to fire something back a bit like mad, or grab hold of him or something. Run, but you can't run now because your legs are too heavy and you're too big. But you had to have done something. You, in a fight like that, you should know, if I've got Hal Foster, I need to be on my P's and Q's. Whether I'm hurt, whether I'm tired, I need to show something. He ain't going to tell you, show me something, like Richard Steele or Kenny Bayless will say to you. Any moment, he could do a Conor Benn versus Adrian Granados, where you just unleash something and then boom, 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 like a UFC referee. So you kind of left yourself vulnerable to get that done to you. Even Andy Lee said, a lot of shots were going in, and it's all she wrote, and it is what it is. So he wasn't even really too much protesting. He could see why the referee stopped it, and it didn't help, as I said, the way he sagged into the rope, where you're now being kept up. Some people are saying it should have been a standing 8 count. The mandatory 8 count was not in the rule book for that fight. People comparing it to Tyson Fury. No, if Howard Foster was in that Tyson Fury fight, surely I believe he probably would have stopped it. He probably would have stopped the Wilder one when Fury got knocked down and his eyes was closed, because Howard Foster's that kind of ref. But Tyson Fury knows, don't put Howard Foster in any of his fights in case he gets hurt, because he knows Howard Foster's a man who will wave it off. So he has only himself to blame. Joe, nice guy, great guy, put up a great fight. It was a great fight for the fans. Undercard was dead. The atmosphere looked good. I know you have some different opinions as you was there. I got offered a ticket, but I thought I'll rather go and make some money since I got snubbed by the media, the cred people. So I thought, yeah,
I mean, look, I hear it, and for the most part, I agree with um a lot of what you said, especially your assessment. Two things I disagree with. When you say it was a a close fight up until that point, I disagree. Um,
how did you score it?
so when I was watching and I was trying, and I was having to watch a lot of it on the screen overhead because there was a lot of people kind of in my line of sight, and it's inexplicably at one point some of the visitor, not the visitor security, like the visitor comfort people, decided to just stand and have a big conversation in front of like where I was sitting. But I gave the first round to Parker. Second round, obviously, gave to Wardley quite wide. Third round, I thought was a swing round. It could have gone either way, but I feel like Joseph Parker did the better. He probably did like the better connections within that. I felt like he was using the jab and stepping in behind it a lot better than what Wardley was doing. And I think in that third round, Wardley started throwing some haymaker overhand rights, but he was telegraphing them from the back of the room to where Joseph Parker could quite visibly see that they weren't about to do anything. Round four was Parker quite wide. Round five was Parker quite wide. Six, seven, same thing. Round eight then became. I thought it was a round where I can kind of see why people gave it to Wally, but looking at that round as I did, sort of just watching it overall for the majority of it, I still saw Joseph Parker in the ascendancy for most of it. Round nine was a Parker round. Round 10 though, hit this one to me it's another swing round, and I understand the people that gave it to Fabio Wardley, but outside of him having, it was about what 30, about 25, 30 seconds right at the end of it where he just says, "Right, do you know what, let's go." When he goes into off it mode, and yes, he landed some big punches on Parker at that point and damage, and caused some damage. But in that same moment, that the rest of that round, the same amount of punches that Fabio landed in that particular period, I think Parker landed more throughout the round in general, and he controlled the majority of that 10th round to the point where Fabio was almost like, "Bro, what's going on here?" He looked almost like he was not out on his feet in terms of like he was unconscious, but he looked as if he was in a fog, like he didn't really know what was going on, and it was only just at that moment the one last shot kind of just woke him up, and he's like, "Oh, all right, you know what? Long for trying to box you. Let's just go. Let's do what we're doing." Um, so yeah, I had it either 8-2, 9-3 with swing rounds. So that's how I kind of saw it. Um, Obviously, like at the end of the day, the scorecards don't matter if you take it out of the judges' hands, and that's something that we have to give credit to Fabio Wardley for. But if we're talking about his head, and the thing is, I don't want to say, because I don't want it to sound like I'm not rating Fabio. I do, but if we're saying that he's had two quote unquote gift decisions from Howard Foster already, the Valili fight and then the Mike Polite Kofi fight, then you've got the suspect stoppage of Justice Huni with the extremely quick count by the referee. Bearing in mind, he basically lost every round, barring maybe one before that. Justice gets to his feet, but by the time he's even on it, the referee tried to be at like 8, but before he'd even got Fabio back to his to the neutral corner.
Mm.
There's that as well. Now you've kind of got this one, so it's just like, as much as he's doing the work he needs to do, he's being robbed of these moments, but it's making his career look a little bit funny when it shouldn't. When his career shouldn't, he shouldn't have all of these black marks against him, because it's not his fault that either people are maybe doing favors for him, or they like him, or they're maybe showing a bit of partial, bias or favoritism to to the home fighter, or the guy that basically has come from nothing in terms of the boxing world. He, and I'm pretty sure he would much rather stand on his own too in that sense. But with all of these decisions that always seem to be going his way, it just, I'm sure he there must be a bit of him that's like, yeah, I don't like this. Like, I want you sparked out on the canvas. I want you like laying face down, you know, maybe even a bit of a compromising position on the floor, like just so people can, like, for instance, the Frazier Clark one. As much as he said, "Look, I got to be respectful," because you don't really want to hurt someone like that. In his head, he was loving that one, and he's like, war by name, war by nature in the camera, all that stuff. He's doing all that stuff, and the reason he's doing all of that is because he's getting the definitive stoppage. Because there's no way that Fraser Clark can continue that fight with the side of his head caved in, mouth all crooked, like he's on lean for the last six months of his life. Like, you can't. That's the kind of stoppage that he wants, and he's being denied that on several occasions. And then he's having to explain it in the ring, like, well, they've got a duty of care, and they got to be rather to be safe than sorry. But I thought it was the right time to stop it because it was only going to go one way. No, we don't want to hear it's only going to go one way. We want to see it go that way.
Mm.
Ultimately,
You want to see the Manny Pacquiao Marquez, where
yeah.
he's on his face.
And to be totally honest, they always say that is actually safer than a man getting like punch up on, like, just on the side of the ropes, like, with his hands down, just taking shots.
Yeah, Tommy
Because,
Morrison.
yeah, like that one, that's a fight where you say, how did you not jump in there like 2, 3, 4 punches earlier? Where, considering his hands are down by his they're down by his side, he's not blocking nothing. So yeah, like I said, congratulations to Fabio, because he pulled it out of the back. He came back and he did what a lot of people didn't suspect he'd be able to do. And it's not his fault that he's getting all of these questionable things going in his favor. That is obviously now making people look at his victories differently. Like, he's gets the credit for last night, but he doesn't get the true credit that he wants, because all everyone's talking about, like me and like a lot of other people, even like you, who predicted him to win, is talking about the referee's premature stoppage, bad stoppage, or was it the right thing, or was it not? No one's really talking about, yeah, Fabio came for, the come from behind victory, the white collar guy. They're all talking about, did the referee do the right thing? And
Mm.
so it's almost like Foster's taken the shine away from him again. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't even know how we end up getting back on top. He's just a topic of discussions, and that
No,
is,
he really is. No, but do you know where it is? Because that it shows you the difference between referees over here and over in, say, in America. Because, for instance, like Carl Froch's one with Groves, Howard Foster did a madness. But then remember when Froch was way behind against Jermaine Taylor, and he pulled it out in the 12th round in the last 10 seconds and got us. But that was a legit stoppage. Like,
yeah,
he was, yeah, it was 10 seconds left, but his hands was out down by his waist, and he was in no position to continue for 10 seconds, unfortunately. So that Froch got a proper stoppage there. Where it was in Britain, obviously we know it would have got stopped a lot earlier for Frochy, but he actually really had to close the show and close the book. Whereas Howard Foster ripped out the last 2 pages of the book where they had to run it back for George Groves. But what I will say, big up Fabio Wardley. You already know I've got that Ipswich second city bias, so big ups to him. But I can see why people are frustrated. But as I said, I don't think this is in the top 10 worst of Howard Foster's bad stoppages. But it still adds to the roster. You shouldn't have a compilation CD of bad decision makings, which could be compilated into a YouTube video on its own if someone has the time and patience.
yeah. Oh, and also, as I said, big up to Fabio. That 100%, again, not his fault. Shout out to him, and obviously he done the damn thing. Congrats, and obviously if he gets Usyk next, brilliant. I mean, I'm. I'll tell you that right now, I don't even need a basis picks for that. Like, he's not ready for Usyk in any way, shape, or form. But get the opportunity. Like, it's some way we never even thought would be possible from where you came from. So salute to you. But also, we have to give a big, big, massive round of applause and credit to Joseph Parker. Yes, okay, he lost the fight, dubious circumstances, but the reason I say big up to him, number one, it's a fight he didn't have to take. He chose to take it. Just because, look, I'm desperate to fight. Like, everyone could kind of see he was getting frozen out of a lot of situations, and it was so obvious over the last year that that's kind of been the case. But even the reason I'm saying big up to him, at the end of the fight, obviously he didn't stick around to do post-fight interviews. He was vexed. You could tell he was vexed when Howard Foster jumped in. He almost gave him a rib shot. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, like
But
David Adelaide did.
yeah, he gave him the little get off me kind of thing. But in the post-fight press conference, not one excuse from him. Not he didn't blame. He didn't even blame the ref. Didn't say all he said. And the thing is, I know he did this. He's a gentleman in that sense, but you could tell he did it in his way, where he was like, "I was essentially I was robbed tonight," because he said, "I felt fine to continue. I felt fine through that moment. You know, obviously he hits hard, but um, I wanted to continue. I thought I was fine, but I'm not in control of stopping the fight. Congratulations to Fabio. Like, he got the better of me tonight. He was the better man tonight. He did, he got it. Like, congratulations. So he never at any point tried to take anything away from Fabio. He gave him his full respect and his full flowers. But the two ways that that he's vexed about it, though, is he said the first thing was about yeah, I can't, there's no point sort of crying and moaning about it. I can't, it can't change anything, but I would love the rematch. From he's telling you I'd love the rematch, that's him basically saying, yeah, like, that was wrong, and I know for a fact I'll get that one back. Obviously, sometimes he might say it. He said it with Dillian, he said it with AJ, but he didn't really mean those ones. This one, he means, oh no, I want that rematch. But we know
Mm.
he won't get it anytime soon. But yeah, it's the fact that he just said, I was frustrated, but there's no point crying about it. Like, it's done now. I've got to move on. Like, I can't change anything. The same thing Justice Hooney said. He's like, yeah, moaning about it now is not going to change it. I just got to go back and be better next time. And that's one thing I rate about him. And he's just like, I still want to fight. I want the next best opportunity I can get. And again, I want the rematch.
Yeah.
So big ups to him, true warrior. You know me, I am partial to the Samoans and their culture and their heritage and all of the Pacific Islanders. But
Yeah. Big up to the Usos and all that. Yeah.
yeah, all of them. But yeah, it's sad, obviously, that he's never got his second crack at the whip, but at least he can always say, I was a former world champion, a legit one. Not interims, not secondary titles. Maybe I wasn't necessarily the division champion because obviously it wasn't linear or anything, but I held a legit belt that was ratified, and I defended it on multiple occasions. Had big unification in a 70,000 seater stadium with Anthony Joshua.
I was there. I was working that day.
Yeah,
Yeah. Prince of
remember I
Wales.
was there as well, like ringside.
Oh
So
yeah, you was with Creaser. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was working.
no,
Yeah.
no, he was with me. No, this we we gonna do that one correct. Like, his seats weren't nowhere near where my seats were. Like,
Oh,
he got
okay.
the bring-ins on that night.
Uh-huh.
But shout out to Chris. But no, so yeah, ultimately, like, that he got all of that. And
Yeah.
one thing I even said, I noticed this earlier on today, and I don't know what it means, if it means anything. Maybe, but there could be something there. Like, after the defeats to AJ and White, he got 6 wins on the bounce before he got knocked out by Joe Joyce. Then he got 6 wins on the bounce again before getting knocked out now by Fabio, or stopped by Fabio. So I'm just wondering, is that a pattern? So does that mean that maybe he's got another 6 fight run in him before the next potential situation occurs. I'm just wondering if that is a pattern that's just there, just one of those, oh, that's strange, or if that's now maybe that's his thing. He comes back, 6 fights, has the big fight after that, and then that's sort of where he just ends up falling short again. It will be interesting to see. But
Well, hopefully he gets a world title shot within that 6 fights, and he isn't on the sixth one, probably on the fourth, and then he can win it. But
yeah,
what I was going to say is shout out to Remy. Thank you for the super chat. What's up? I thought it was prematurely stopped. Yep, you're in the
yep.
you're in
Remy also
the.
put in another one saying that they want to see the rematch. Let me get that one up. So
Oh, sorry. Like
there
on.
you
Yeah.
go.
Oh,
That's,
I put another one up. Oh, big ups, Remy again. You want to see
yeah, I
the
want to see
rematch?
that rematch.
Yeah, shout
Um,
out.
And then,
Ah,
yeah, also saying here, obviously, just because of that, her crazy fight pattern. Yeah, 6 fights and then a KO loss. 6 fights, then a KO loss. It's interesting. I'm just want to see if that holds true moving forward. But with the one thing we know about him, he is the definition of. Obviously, he's well compensated. Don't get me wrong. He's got good people that get him good money,
yeah,
but
he
he
got
is the
3.4 million for this fight, not to pocket watch, but he got 3.4 M for this fight. So Parker did
I
get
heard
well.
it was 2.3.
I read 3.4, but dollars.
Oh, okay. So maybe 2.3 pounds. Then
Yeah,
that probably makes sense. Okay. Well, here's what I say. He gets paid handsomely because he's got good people negotiating for him, but he don't duck no smoke. Whether the people he's fighting at the time are washed or maybe just a bit overhyped or whatever, he says yes to pretty much. I don't think there's ever been a time I've heard him actually say I don't want that fight. Even back in the day, he was saying that he wanted the Fury fight, but then Fury said that they would never fight each other. And then I think after he's like, well, yeah, we're friends, so maybe it's not the one. But yeah, I've never heard someone say, oh yeah, like we offered Joseph Parker the fight and he turned it down.
yeah.
So
Yeah, Fury
it's
probably talked him out like, "Come on, we're brethren. Don't say that. Don't say that."
yeah.
He's probably one of them ones.
And the thing is, I remember the interview where he said it. I just can't. I just never been able to find it again.
No,
When
I remember him. I do remember. I do remember seeing that, and then all of a sudden it turned into we're club mates and we're brethren.
mm,
So Fury obviously gave him the come on, like don't do that, allow me type of thing. But yeah, no, Parker. He's beat Andrew Ruiz, Carlos Takam, Huey Fury. He's gone through everyone. He's fought everybody. Real true warrior. Still got something left. I think just shave it down to 250, 252. And he'll be all right. Parker, I see that Frank Warren when he was like, "Oh, hopefully I can get like another opportunity," and Frank Warren was straight away like, "No, don't worry. Listen, we've got you. We've got you. So Frank was reassuring him, "Trust me, you're not being dumped by the wayside." Probably because he's done Frank a favor there, because he could have sat out and sat on the sideline and waited his shot, but he's kept wanted to keep busy and got Frank a pay-per-view fight. Um,
that
which
shouldn't have been pay per
shouldn't have
view.
been pay-per-view. Do you know what I'm saying? So Frank's thinking, yeah, don't worry, I owe you one, mate. So I've got you.
Yeah, but the thing is, Frank, and shout out to Big Frank, but Frank owing him one and saying, "Oh no, there's plenty more fights for you." All that's gonna be is now you're just gonna be the litmus test for the next guys coming up. They're not gonna do any fights for Joseph Parker right now that get him back into position to try and fight for the world title again. Like
Mm-mm.
it'll probably end up, if anything, like Joe Joyce rematch, like Dillian White
He'll punch up Joe
rematch, like
Joyce now. He'll punch
yeah.
up Joe Joyce now.
Probably, but I'm saying, but those are the kind of, or it'll be like a Delia, it'll be that kind of thing, or it will be a tumor like 10 months from now. So maybe
Yeah.
after two fights coming back, fight Moses Atuma at the end of 2026 or something. So it's not gonna be shots that get him back to that world title unless obviously he goes through the mad run again.
Well, you
But
think it'd be just like fun fights. But do you
yeah,
know who I'd like to see him fight? Either next or the one after. I'd really like, stylistically, I'd like to see him against someone like Filip Hrgovic. I think that'd be a good fight. They're both about the same age. Both aggressive boxers, should I say? I think that'd be a good fight.
yeah, decent. To be honest, I'd actually like him to see if he could go on the road a little bit. I'd like to see him against Fa Jaguar. I'd like to see him against Frank Sanchez.
Mhm.
Um, Maybe not Ajit Caballero right now, but maybe in the future. But yeah, I think Sanchez, I can see someone maybe trying to get him, offer him Richard Torres, to see obviously where Torres is at, like maybe 6, 7 months from now, 8 months from now. But the one good thing I think from this at the minute is he's not above taking a couple of like stay busy fights, for cheap money, because he did it in New Zealand. After the obviously he did the Jack Massey fight, then he went back to New Zealand to fight Figo Pelu before having the Simon Keane fight on the first Riyadh card with Ngannou and
And he
Fury.
did the Junior Far one as well.
Yeah, but that was before. But
Oh.
that technically wasn't, that was a big money fight in New Zealand. Like they didn't, yeah, it wasn't one of those things where he got basically he got what they would consider big money for that fight over there.
Mm.
But yeah, on the whole, like he will take those, the not the tune ups, but those kind of fights to just to kick around. But yeah, give him more activity, and I feel like he'll do better. Don't leaving him idle for like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 months. That's just when he starts to say, okay, well now I need to be big, and he just starts doing mad weight training for no reason. Like
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
him busy, keep him active, and the weight probably will come back down naturally again. So
So what then? What do you think happens with um, Fabio Wardley next? Do you think he goes into the Usyk fight?
yeah, I think as long as the WBO actually order it, I mean, Usyk and the team apparently have said, "Look, we'll fight. We was gonna fight whoever won." I think they were really banking on Parker to do it, but Wardley. I mean, look, let's not forget Wardley was one of Usyk's first sparring partners for the. I think it was the, the Tony Bellew fight. Um, when he was taking that fight. So realistically, like Usyk kind of showed him a few bits and pieces, but Usyk knows what he is,
Mm.
and I think that they will be quite happy to take that fight, understanding that look, he might go into renegade mode, but as I saw yesterday, the same as I saw in the first Frazier Clark fight, and even the second one, to be honest, even though he got the stoppage, when he goes into that mode, he is very defensively irresponsible. His arms are always down by his side or down by the chest. If you time it right, you can catch him over the top. And if you're strong
Mm.
enough in your shot, or you're defensive enough in the way that you've got your construct set up, you can catch him and possibly hurt him badly. Maybe he's got the chin to be able to walk through it. We don't know, but the openings are there. So yeah, it's it will be an interesting fight, and that will be a pay per view I will pay for, even if the undercard is dead, just because I know that one will be worth it from a storyline point of view. But
Yeah. For me, um, and yeah, do you know what you see with Usyk? That whole renegade madman roadman mode which he goes into is actually pretty dangerous against someone like Usyk, because remember Usyk does the thing with the coins and he goes into that neo matrix because he's had a man try to do that Deptford ghetto boy move on him with Daniel Dubois last time out, and he saw everything coming. What? And then dropped him. So doing the whole trying to rush Usyk, he's gonna do the coin thing where he's seeing everything moving in slow mo like the Matrix and catch him very badly. Yes, Wardley has shown a good chin, but he could get hurt. And Usyk, he's good at putting them together, and he don't mind. Usyk's a man who don't mind going points. He ain't a man who's power hungry for a knockout like people like Justice Hooney and Joseph Parker, who was quite aggressive this week, saying I'm going to wipe him out early. Usyk ain't a man who's like I'm going to wipe you out. He's just a man. If I beat you on points, I'll beat you on points as long as I win. If I have to embarrass you or I have to put on a masterclass, I'll do it. And if I see the opportunity to wipe you out, I'll wipe you out. So big him up. And what I say is, well done, big up Fabio again. But then also, what I think will happen next is I don't know if it will be Fabio Wardley. Some people are saying, well, I think it will be Fabio Wardley because of the marketing. Some people are saying they feel Ajit Kabayel should get the shot. But what I think is going to happen, because Ajit Kabayel is due to fight January the 10th in Germany in a homecoming stadium fight. I feel that Frank is gonna use that as some kind of tester run to see how well Ajit Kabayel does in a stadium, because they haven't had a stadium fight since the Klitschko's in Germany. If Ajit Kabayel does well with the Turkish, Kurdish, and German community, they'll let Fabio go first with Usyk, and then Kabayel will go next. As we know, Usyk travels to anyone's backyard and rocks them in their yard, and then he'll go from the UK over to Germany and fight Ajit Kabayel, I believe, probably after he fights Fabio Wardley. Quickly from Remy. Big up, Remy. You are doing bits today. This is for past shows that I had to watch the playback on. Great boxing conversations. I'll be in the background listening right of right as of now, mates. Oh, cheers from California. Oh, rotted. Big ups, man.
Salute Remy.
Big ups, Remy, man. Shout out to the American. What part of California you from, man? Let us know. Well, thank you very much. That's really appreciated. Um, so yeah, that's what I think will happen.
Yeah, sounds plausible. Sounds plausible. But yeah, look, I guess we just have to wait and see. Um, overall, like good fight. It saved. Well, I don't know if I can wholeheartedly say it saved what was a dire pay per view event, but it lessened the blow, I guess, for the people who did pay for it. But I would like to, if they, it would be nice if they put out the numbers of these things, or they were readily available to find, just so that we can kind of see what it done, because there was a lot of negative backlash on socials around it. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people found alternative means. And outside of that, I am concerned one thing, and again, shout out to Queensbury, because Big Frank, obviously home of the heavyweights, but I don't think they've actually got the necessary finances to fund all of them at this point. And it kind of seems evident by how the lack of activity for most of them is, especially without the Riyadh season cards. But Frank's been on the zone and has had 3 pay-per-views in the last 4 months. Like, to me, that's concerning. And then
Mm.
supposedly we got the another one coming at the end of the year, possibly another two, by like, or that Queensbury are heavily involved in, even if they're not the direct, like the sole promoter. Like, we weren't getting all of these pay-per-views like when it was like just Matchroom on the zone or Golden Boy. The
Or
Riyadh stuff,
TNT.
okay, cool, that makes sense to a degree, but I'm just a bit concerned that either Frank's not been given the budget he should have, or yeah, something else is going on. But it's all of these pay per views and stuff with the zone needs it. They need to calm down. They need to start being rational with what they're putting out to the audience.
Yeah, because you got what are you giving us for our subscription for the year? You paying like for like some of us we do the bulk buy, the all in one, the £100 one. But what are you giving us for our sub money? You can't just charge us subs and then add additionals for every other show once a month. That's not fair. Otherwise, just don't make it subs. Just charge pay-per-views
Mm-hmm.
if you're going to do it that way.
I'm trying to see if I can find my
And I'm not happy about this November 22nd one where Turkey's reneged on his promise.
Well, hold on. No, to be fair though, and I might have misinterpreted this. I thought that what he actually said was after that event, after the 22nd, there will be no more pay per view. I don't know if he necessarily had that one included. I think we need to go back and double check, because maybe they assumed, but I thought it meant that from the 22nd, like from that date onwards, there won't be pay per views anymore.
I thought he said starting with that was going to be the starter.
Okay,
But we will have to double check it because it was a while ago. I remember.
but agreed, it's not it is a bit of a nasty move. Um, that
Yeah,
is now showing as a pay per view, and it didn't need to be.
yeah, and Americans are going to get charged what $60, which is
Yeah,
not. which is not £25. And I do think they do. I think there was something you said I saw in your video where they do need to do if they are going to do more pay per views like this, there has to be a tiered system where you can't. All right, the Premier fights £25. I'm cool, but then there's other ones where you need to charge 14.99 or 9.99 or even 7.99, like Triller used to do for certain
Mhm.
ones. Um, they can't all be 25s now. Some have got to be 20, some have got to be 15, and some of them got to be 10. Some even £8. I know a lot of these fighters now they are asking for more money than they should. So yeah, sometimes you've got to stick it on pay per view, but there's got to be a tiered price system on it. They're not all the same price, unfortunately.
All right, so I'm looking Queensby, so past boxing events, right?
Yeah.
So 4th of October was Collins and Lorente in Scotland, so next King of Scotland. Before that one, Saturday 23rd of August, Make or Break, which was Rafferty and Chamberlain.
Hmm.
Then the 16th was the esports thing with Dillian White and Moses Talma pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Before that was the peer pressure, Garner and Bellotti, 26th of July. Decent card, to be honest. But before that one was the 19th, so the week earlier, Undisputed, Usyk and Dubois pay-per-view.
Fair enough. That one.
Wardley and Hooney, obviously, again, on the 7th of June. And then we had Land of the Brave, which was Taylor and Esserman. And then, let's see, Kakache, Wood, Joyce and Hergovich, Heavy
Well,
Impact.
Kakache and Lee Wood was pay per view.
No. That one wasn't.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just trying to go through how many events they've actually put on, like on the zone. So that one, the Hurt game there, the 10th. Obviously, the Canelo one, which they were I think they were the main promoters of, the Canelo and Skull. Joyce and Hergovich, Heavy Impact, that was theirs on the 5th of April. That was on the zone. And then I think the Hard Day's Night, which was the Liverpool card, which was Ball and Dehaney,
Mm.
which obviously wasn't a great fight. And then Garner and Jimenez collision on the coast. So, all right. So basically, looking at that, because Last Dance and everything, the February one, that was on TNT Sports. And I think that was pay per view. The Derek Chisora one, Last Crescendo. And then Garner, was that on TNT or was that on DAZN? Let me check.
No, Ghana was on the zone.
Okay. No, it was on TNT Sports. Garner and Jimenez on the 1st of March.
Oh, Ryan Garner. I thought you meant the Garner
Oh,
show.
no. So
With Ryan
then,
Garner, yeah. Sorry.
all right, so Nick Ball and Doherty was TNT Sports as well. So, right, so the zone, the Heavy Impact is where they started on the zone. So that from April. So from April till now, they've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they've had 11 cards, and of those 11 cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 of the 11 cards have been pay per view since April.
Yeah, that's like 30. That's like 35%. That's not good, man.
So we need to, that needs to be looked at.
Shout out Remy Del Rio, basically Northern Modesto, which is in Northern California, where Frank Lucas, Jeremy Renner, and Timothy Oliphant are from. Okay.
Okay, shout out.
Sorry, oh, George Lucas from Star Wars. Yeah, I thought that because I thought Frank Lucas was originally from the
New
South
York.
somewhere. Yeah, well, yeah, New York, but his parents were from the South or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay.
Right.
Um, you want to talk briefly about the undercard or?
I didn't see any of it apart from Jurgen Ugelaj, who basically just stunk out the joint, him and Rolly Lambert. I got in just after the Ezra Taylor fight, so I ain't see it, but Tony showed me how it got stopped. I mean, look, shout out to Ezra. He supported my channel. Him and his manager Mike have done done bits. So shout out to them.
Mhm. I thought he looked impressive. Yes, Woodall came in at short notice. But Ezra Taylor, good body shots, breaking down Steed Woodall slowly, and the corner threw the towel in at the right moment because it was he was getting busted up pretty badly. But yeah, very looking very good under the tutelage of who I think might be the milkman daddy in Malik Scott as a trainer. He's looking very good under him. So yeah, big ups to Ezra Taylor. Also, shout out to Mitchell Smith. I remember him from back in the day on Box Nation when he was a real good prospect as the babyface assassin. He used to, I remember he had this highlight where he threw these volley of hooks. That guy knocked him out clean. And he's come back after being 18 stone, 110 pounds from boxing at 130 pounds. And he's got himself back down now to 135. And he's a WBO European champion, beat Arnie Dawson. Funny enough, I saw Arnie Dawson box 3 weeks ago in York Hall on the TM14 Nielsen's boxing card where Lucas Rowery boxed. Arnie Dawson was the main event on that show and he won on points. But yeah, I just wanted to see how Mitchell Smith looked because I know he came back after 7 years, had a fight in 2022, then went off again for 2 years, had another couple fights, and then this is his third fight back. So at 30, 32, I thought, oh, is he gonna, how's he gonna be with the weight off and the inactivity? But yeah, dropped Arnie Dawson in the first round. Arnie Dawson had a little rally in the eighth, but yeah, for the most part, Mitchell Smith dominated the fight and won. So yeah, good stuff. Welcome back.
Okay.
But yeah, them cruiserweights were built for show, not built to go.
Yeah, and the less said about that, the better. Look, there wasn't even anything really telling from the week to really sort of talk about, and we kind of went into depth last week. So I reckon we can kind of keep it. Yeah, we can keep it to that. We got off the topics that we need to talk about. So unless there's anything specific you want to chat, I'm happy to bounce. I know you got to get up early in the morning. Me too, to a lesser extent. So
Yeah, no, I think we've covered the talking point which anyone really wants to tune in and listen to us for. Otherwise, we'd probably be just dragging them through. But yeah, no, thank you everyone for tuning in and big up Star Fox. You're saying I'm moving like Spencer. Well, I'm the master aficionado. Um, yes, Howard Foster, he did me a favor because I did predict that it'd be between the 10th and 11th to look out for specifically. But we know sometimes these circumstances do become fortunate. But as I said to someone on Twittex, tune in to Base the Kid at the Hardcore Casual because they tried to ask me if I'm Nostradamus. I said no. We reserved them titles there for Base the Kid because he is Base Stradamus. So if you want them picks and he gives you great content throughout the week regularly, please make sure you subscribe to his channel. Also, subscribe to October Red. She brings out good content about boxing and these days also outside of boxing if you're into some of that social information and stuff like that about cases. She gives you some of that stuff. I'm not sure what Maestro's doing. He has been quiet. I haven't seen his channel with material as of late, but I'm sure he will resurface from under wherever he is doing. I know he's working hard grafting, but also in the meantime, subscribe to Fight Fan TV Live. I'm trying to give you guys more content, but please keep the engagement up because that will incentivize me. I am a family man, so it is hard for me to get time to get Master Aficionado Jr. out of the room and Mrs. Glover out of the room, you know what I mean? So work with me, peoples. But hit the hype button for all of our channels. It does help, I believe. Hit the like button, hit the comment section, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And thank you for the super chats today. I think that's the first time I've had a super chat. So yeah, much appreciated.
good stuff. Well deserved. All right, look now. Danny normally does it, but this time I'm the one who's going to sign us off. Look, it's been great chatting with you guys. Obviously, being in the comments, we will try and be a bit more interactive. On the next one, I'm not sure what we're going to be doing next week. We will have something, and the week after, we're going to be consistent for the rest of this year at least, or at least every time there's a major talking point. and hopefully we will have the three of us back. It won't be next week. We do know that October's not going to be available then, but the following probably will have something there. Guaranteed on the 22nd, all of us will be here. No excuses. But with that being said, appreciate you all. Enjoy the rest of your night. You ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell off of this stream. Peace.